The big 3, man, giving you something on the skill side, something on the performance side, something on the mental and the mindset side of how you can grow your game, become a better hooper. So first and foremost, do I train alone or do I train with the group? Well, I'm gonna give you the pros and cons of each. The pros and cons of training by yourself and the pros and cons of training with the group. Next, we're gonna get into this summer training, man. How do you get better and develop your game during the summer when you're out there doing your thing with if you're in middle school and you're playing multiple sports. So you're in high school now. You're still trying to develop and get your game better. Give me the blueprint on how you can develop your game during the summer. And last but not least, we hit this pocket where we're in the funk and things aren't going our way. We're in this middle part where we just kind of don't like where we're at. We're in the valley. How do we get ourselves out of that pocket? How do we get ourselves to where we're back in our groove? We're feeling like ourselves again. So give you a couple of things, give you 9 things specifically on how you can get yourself out of that pocket, out of that rut, out of that slump. So tune in. It's the big 3. Let's get it. The pros of training by yourself, you're training alone. So this is going to be more on the private side. If you do have a trainer, you're training with them on a one-on-one basis. Or if you're just by yourself, no trainer, you can afford that, whatever. You don't have a trainer where you're at, whatever. So first off, the benefit and the pro of training by yourself is that you can work on like the generic or the general skills. So you can specifically get help on your general skills. So you can work on ball handling by yourself, but you can get specific things within the ball handling. So you might not have the best ability to cuff the ball, or you might need to work on your shooting, and you need to work on your form within your shooting. So the fine details you need to get better and develop in. You're getting that now because you're by yourself with the trainer, or you're by yourself on the court by yourself. So you're able to get that skill specifically helped out by yourself. You're working on the details of your form or your shot or your mechanics. You get that by yourself. Or you might want to get just reps in, just like block practice where you're sitting there in the corner getting your shot. So you might be able to have access to a shooting machine, or you have somebody pulling the rebound for you. You can get them to rebound for you. You just sit there and take corner shots. So take 100 pull up shots. You can work on that by yourself. Very simple, very easy to do. Don't need any help with that. But if you do have help, that's cool. But you get to able to get more reps in and very specific kind of reps in by yourself, like you want to. But then on the psychological side, the mindset side, you're able to develop and get these skills grown without the judgment. So we all fear we don't fear failure. I said this before. We don't actually feel failure. We don't fear messing up, making mistakes. We fear the judgment that comes behind that mistake that we make. So we make a mistake, we mess up in a group, we feel like everybody judging us saying that we're suck and we're not good. But when you're by yourself, no one's there to judge you except you. So now you're in a judgment-free zone, except if you're judging yourself. And now you're able to develop your skills without feeling so bad when you mess up, make mistakes. You feel like you're pulling the group behind because you're the one that's off today, or you're the one who's not as good as everybody else. So now you're able to get these skills to a certain point without that judgment. And lastly, I know it's difficult to do this, but you can judge you can work on the quality of skills versus the depth of um, overall transfer of skills. So, think about defense. If you're out there by yourself, you can't really work on defense because you have to actually defend somebody to actually work on your defense. But you can work on specific things within defense that can, help transfer back to you actually training working against other people. So let's say you, uh you need to work on your quickness, your lateral quickness. You don't need to have somebody in front of you to work on that. You can do different things in the weight room. You can do different things on the court to kind of uh, fine tune the specific qualities that go into lateral quickness. That now you can transfer the mental and the body connection when you actually get back on there the court. So you don't need to have somebody out there with you to work on defense, but you can work on specific qualities. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say just because you work on these qualities of the skills means that you automatically have the transfer over of these skills. It's not how it's gonna work exactly. But it does give you better than if you're just out there doing nothing or if you weren't out there trying at all. So doing these specific qualities of skills or things around that specific thing helps you aid back into your game. So those are the pros of it. First off, you get very general skills with specific help. So you need to fine tune your form shot. You can do that by yourself. You can get a lot of reps in, you get a lot of block practice in. You can get a lot of judgment free. You can let all the mistakes you wanna make and not feel judged by it, which gives you more freedom and creativity to be yourself. And you can work on the qualities around the skills to help you transfer the skill back over when you get back to, playing your game and stuff. But there's a con to this side too. So, you can't really challenge yourself as much as you would if you were playing against other people. So when you're shooting sometimes, like I said, you're doing block practice. It's difficult to challenge yourself sometimes because you might not know how to challenge yourself. You just know you're getting off shots and you're ripping them off, and you can really challenge yourself by saying, "Okay, I can't do the same shot. I can't do the same move 2 times in a row." But it's difficult to do that because sometimes still get bored and you get in a comfort zone within yourself that you don't get challenged or pushed as much outside of it. So you may hit a comfort zone. Now you're in a space where you don't push yourself conditioning wise, or you don't push yourself to be very uncomfortable because it's the psychological effect of thinking, man, I missed 10 shots in a row. I'm not getting better. Or you're thinking, I'm not as fine tuned as I should be because I'm messing up all these things. But throughout the competition part of working with other people, you do get the ability to challenge these skills and see if how good you are, how good you aren't. But you're missing that when you're doing it by yourself. You also miss the game like aspect of training because it's difficult for you to simulate the game situation if you don't have other people out there. So it's difficult for you to have the reaction time and then to work on specific situations. You don't have other people out there challenging those situations. So let's say you're training to do a layup, right? Or trying to work on the pass. Well, it's kind of difficult to work on that pass sometimes if you don't have the visual reaction to make you do it more game like. So you doing this layup, you think it's gonna work because I've been training to do this little layup by myself, but then you don't realize that you're going against a 6'3" guy or a 6'7" post or a 6'10" post, and now you wonder why the shot's not working because you're not training it game like for it to make it transfer from practice to the game. And then lastly, we've all went through this. We've all had this struggle and issue. We just get lazy sometimes. We like discipline. We don't want to go to the gym consistently. We miss out on being able to truly make the impact that we should make because we're being lazy. We're not being as disciplined as we should be. So we get to the court and I don't feel like doing as many shots as I said I would. I'm gonna do a little bit less. Or maybe you sleep in now and you say, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the gym a little bit later," but then you don't go at all. Or you finish this rep out, I'm supposed to go in here for an hour, supposed to go at supposed to go at this intensity, but then you back off some and you leave a little early or whatever. But you don't have that accountability if you're training by yourself. You lack that discipline because you're doing it by yourself. So if you're not there at that point where you can just be stone cold, just do everything by yourself, that can hurt you sometimes you're training by yourself. But now the flip side of it, if you're training with the group. Okay, let's go to the pros of you're working with the group now. So, one, you can work on these specific skills. You can get very detailed on the skills you want to have. So, you can work on ball handling and ball pressure now because so you have somebody to pressure you. You can work on the pick and roll specifically. You can work on finishing against slip, finishing versus contact, against a help defender, against rotation. You can work very specifically on the skills that you're going to need to work on in the game versus just generic skills that you can't get the direct correlation to go over as much all the time. And then 2, you can work on a more variety of things. Let's go back to shooting, right? If you're working on shooting by yourself, you're doing spot shooting, right? So you can do the same things. There's only so much you can really do creativity wise when you're by yourself sometimes. And it's gonna be cool, but now if you're working and somebody gets closing you out, you're working against pressure, now that variety comes in now because you can't do the same exact shot when somebody's challenging you, somebody's forcing you to get outside your comfort zone. So you hit that shot once or twice, now the challenge you to do something different. Now you have so many multiple things you can pull out your bag now because you have a variety of things you're pulling out your bag because you're forced to because you're in that group session now. And you get the benefit of having things being game. Like I said before, you're working on your pick and roll now, but now you have defense out there. So you have somebody setting the pick, by defending you on the pick and roll, and now you have a big to worry about. And depending on how many people you have to worry about rotation, you have to worry about the help defender and the gaps and so on and so forth. So you're working on that by yourself, you're gonna come around the cone or come around the chair, the trash can, and you're gonna do some little move. You're gonna, you might do some fake where pretending you're rolling something to the big, take a shot. Now you're trying to do the same exact thing, and the big doesn't move how you thought it would. Now you have to react to it, and you have to put more into the thought process, and you'll pour more into the skill session of how do I still figure out how to be productive, get a score, or get a positive play out of this when things don't go my way. And it's the exact same thing that's gonna happen when you're in the game. So you're in the game now, you worked on pick and roll and the bigs with the roll, but now you have to short roll because the defense is clogged there. But now you trained it in the game where you're in a group now it's benefiting you because you're able to transfer that specific situation, very game like, now transfer over to the game because you practiced that. also benefits you on the mental, psychological side because they have competition out there. So if you got, 4 guys out there, I'm saying first one to go make 7 shots, got a little more energy and more fire so you can wanna win. If I split you guys same group of 4, 2 and 2, first group to hit X amount of shots, now you want a little bit more game, like, now you have a little more intensity to you. And you also have accountability when you work with a group too. So, when you trying to talk about being lazy and not finishing out things, it's different now because you have a group of guys and saying, "No, we're finishing this out. No, you're gonna hit these shots. No, you're gonna sit here and finish this drill out, finish this game out. You can't quit. You can't give up on us because we're here too. We're here with you." So now you have the accountability and the competition to push and keep you going. But then you also have part of that is the social interactions. Now you can work on your leadership skills. You can work on developing and fine-tuning your how do you interact with different people. So if you're able to work with the trainer and they're putting you with different groups of people that you're not always used to, now you have to figure out how do I interact with this person that I don't know, they're a little bit different. So now you have the ability to work on your social skills and work on leadership skills and how you develop and communication skills. How do I talk to different people? How do I make sure that I'm getting my messages across to not bother them like you would my people over here because we talk. But in spite of all this good, there is some downside too. So one, you get a limited focus on what you're working on. So say you specifically working on shooting, but then your form is bad. Well, it's hard to get the details of your form when you got a group of other people out there. The trainer might not have time to sit there and work with you, or if you're training with your homeboys, they're not going to cater to you need to work on your jump shots. Like, man, you better figure it out and produce in this session right here, produce when us hooping. You don't have time to sit and detail your game, trying to work on ours too. So sometimes you get limited focus, and if you are working with a trainer, you're working with other people. I had to split my focus up between multiple people depending on how many people you have in the session. So if it's 5 people, I'm splitting my getting 20% of my focus to each person. So you get limited focus, you have to share the reps in. So you are working on your shot, but now you have to take a second between each shot to let other people get their shots in too. It's not as many reps you would have got as before. So it's not necessarily a bad thing if you can make it work if you're doing more game situation type stuff, but it's still calm because you don't get as many reps in as you would have doing it by yourself. And then you also deal with the judgment that you feel from dealing with other people. So back to the judgment of fear of failure. You must make a mistake now. I'm letting the group down, or I'm the one in the group that's slacking, or I'm the one that's off today. I'm the one that sucks today. I'm the one that's being terrible. So you're dealing with that judgment now, whereas before, man, you by yourself. You don't care as much. You're training by yourself, or just you in the training, so it's not as much of a burden on you. Versus now, when you're training with other people, mm, my homeboy looking at me looking crazy. The girl over there in the corner, she cute, or the girl in our session with her, she's cute. I don't want to look bad in front of her, and she's showing me up, and my best friend over here, I can't look bad in front of him. I don't want to be one in the group. That's the the weak link in the group. I don't want to be that person. So that can be a good accountability thing, but you don't want to handle that pressure. So it just depends on where you're at. So that's a lot, man. Those decent pros and cons list of how it can help or hurt you training by yourself or just training in a group. But you take with that what you will, and just figure out where you're at in your space of training. Do you need more individual? Do you need more group training? Do you need more specific attention to you to work on your skills by yourself, or do you want to have more of a group? In my opinion, you get a good bit of both because you deal with the pros and the cons. The difference comes in how much you do each of the other. How much do you do by yourself? How much do you do with your group and your homie? So depends on you and where you're at with your situation, but it's a pros and cons list. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. But let me know what you think, man. What is something that I missed out on the pros and cons? What's something that I missed out on the benefit training alone versus training by with the group? So let me know. Appreciate you for watching. Hey, hold on. Oh, time out real quick. We're gonna get back to the episode. I know you're enjoying it. I know you're enjoying the show. But I need you to help me real quick and to make sure that this episode can grow, make sure this podcast and show can grow overall, and you can keep getting great guests like this. Make sure that you subscribe and follow along. So if you watch right now on YouTube, help me out by hitting the subscribe button. Okay, go ahead and do it real quick. If you're listening in your car, chill out for a second. If you're on Apple or on Spotify, just like when you get a moment, hit the follow button, but not right now while you're driving. If you're working out or something, or you chilling in your room, then go ahead and subscribe with me. Like, help me help you, okay? But Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you. I'm gonna stop interrupting so you get back to the episode. Thank you. Summertime training. How do we get better and develop our game during the summer? Well, I'm gonna help you guys out. Okay, I'm gonna give you a couple things to think about. Um, so first, I'm gonna lay out some things that you can kind of build a blueprint around on how you can train. But then I'm gonna give you kind of more of a detailed breakdown depending on where you are, who you are, where you're at in your career. So first and foremost, with training, getting ready to train and prepare for our game during the summer. The first thing you need to sit down and think about, the first thing, what is the goal? What am I getting better at? What is the skill that I'm going to develop and work on this summer? We say, "Oh, I'm gonna work on my shooting this summer." Well, what about your shooting? Like, it's cool to say that, but now, like, it's like a big overarching skill. You can work on your ball handling, your finishing, your shooting, your defense. That's probably like the 4 things: ball handling, shooting, finishing, defense. Yeah. Or you might need to get better in the weight room. Let's say those are the 5 things. And you get stronger or whatever in the weight room. Well, what are the things we're gonna be focused on? What is the thing that we're going to be doing within those things? So those are the overarching skills, like the big skills. What are the subcategories of those skills we're gonna get better at? So what about your shooting? Are you gonna get better come in, catch, and shoot? Are you gonna get better shooting off the dribble? Is certain area of the floor to get better at shooting at? Are we working on our finishing with our weekend? Working on finishing uh, against taller defenders? Are we working against finishing against contact? Are we working on the finishing against 2 defenders? Are we working on our ball handling, dealing with more pressure, ball handling um, when it comes to taking the ball 94 feet? Working on maybe you're in a situation where you're the best player, you get double teamed a lot. How do we work around that? There's so many different things within these skills that we need to work on and get developed at. But we just say, "I'm gonna get better at my defense." Well, what about your defense? Because if you can lock on that more than just, "Oh, I need to get better at my defense," you can know a lot clearer of what you're working on and if you're working or not. Because when you get back to the season, you know that, "Man, I got better at this thing this summer because I detailed this specific thing." So you know without a shadow of a doubt that you got better. And how do you decide which thing you're gonna work on? How do you decide what's the focus gonna be? That's what I tell my players. When we're looking at our summer, we get back to school around August, or you get back into the season around October, November. When you look back and say, "Man, I know for a fact this year, this season, I'm coming into a better shape. I'm coming into this better than I was last year. It's gonna prepare me to be a better player than I was last year, or get more opportunities, get more minutes, or maybe start this year, maybe play more this year, or start and get more opportunities, or I can finish the game." What is the thing that you'll know from out of a without a shadow of a doubt, I got better at this thing, and it prepared me to be better situation. So if we only worked on this one thing, I don't say 1 to 3 things max. Depends on where you're at. Anyway, 1 to 3 things max. I got better at this thing. I know coach can have to look at me. I'm gonna make the team this year. Or coach is gonna look at me and I'm gonna start this year. Coach is gonna look at me. I'm gonna get my minutes. I'm gonna look at him look at her as a finisher of the game this year. What is that thing for you? Because a lot of us just work on skills and believe we're getting better, but then coach is like, "You can already finish with your right hand. You suck with your left hand. I can't trust you going left now." Or, "Yeah, you can dribble the ball, but anytime I get a certain amount of pressure on you from a smaller defender, you cough the ball up." Or, "Yeah, you can, dribble, but now you like just amp it up son, get a little bit cleaner handles." So what is the thing you're gonna work on? What's the goal of working on this thing this summer that we know we're gonna get better at? And I know without a shadow of a doubt, I got better this year. Next thing is to figure out is the time. Because we all think, "Oh, I'm gonna sit here and just work on this the whole summer," but you have a time frame. You might have other sports you're playing, you might be playing travel ball or AAU this summer, you might have vacation with your family, you might have, a gym where you only have a certain amount of time that you can train in the gym by yourself. You need to weigh all these things out for the time we're gonna do. Well, am I gonna work for 3 months? Am I gonna work for 1 month? Because of whatever schedule we have. You may have some church camp things, band camp stuff, you might have other obligations you have to fulfill. So look at the time frame you have to actually work on these things because it's gonna be a little bit different depending on the goal that you have. So if you have 1 month to work on this thing, it's gonna look totally different from how we work on it if we have 4 months or 3 months. If you only have 1 month, you're gonna put a little more gas to the pressure and you're gonna, skip some baby steps that you might have wanted to have before versus not having the extra time. So if you have more time, you can go more fine tune, more details of things. You can go more in depth with uh, how do I go from A to B to C? So you might have A to E if you have 4 months, but you might have A to C if you only have 1 month. So the time frame which you have to work with matters a lot too. And this is the next thing is very important. And I don't think we think about this enough when we're talking about our goals and our plans. What is the trade-off here? What am I sacrificing? Like if I'm gonna put more time to the gym, what thing I'm giving up? You think we if if I have a ring on each finger and I can only fit uh something on one hand, right? I can only fit one ring on each finger. At some point, I have to take off a ring to fit the other one on. So what am I giving up? Which ring am I giving up? Am I giving up a little bit more time this summer on playing video games? Am I giving up a little bit of sleep in the morning or a little bit in the afternoon? Am I going to cut off a sport to put more into basketball? Am I going to sit back and maybe not do vacation? We have to give up something because we only have 24 hours in a day, and you have certain things you can commit so much to. So you can't sit here and say, "I'm gonna add more, not take anything off my plate." Your plate can only hold so much. So what's the thing you're gonna sacrifice? What's the thing you're gonna trade off in exchange for this thing we're working on to? Next, when you start doing that, you have to rank and prioritize what matters the most to you. So we're working on, like I said before, if you have 3 goals, what's the most important goal we're gonna work on this year? What's the one thing, if I got better at this year, I feel good in? 'Cause once again, you have a limited amount of time. So if you say you want to work on, shooting, off the dribble this year, you wanna work on your defense, and you wanna work on your finishing. Well, which is the one thing that matters the most? And if you wanna work on the weight side, what's the one thing that matters the most to where if for some reason, I only work on this, I feel good about myself. So if you get the biggest rock out the way saying, "I need to work on my ball handling this year, be able to handle more pressure, become smoother. Need to work on shooting off the dribble, need to work on my defense." Which one means the most to where if I could only work on one thing, if I had, you know, for a reason my workout got cut short, or for whatever reason my stomach got caught short, or whatever, something happens, like life gets thrown in the way. What's the one thing I know if I got better at, I feel good at? And this thing, if I don't work as much on, it's cool. You feel me? Like, I'm not disappointed in it, I'm not too hurt by it, but I'd love if I did have the chance to work on it. So, um, I want you guys to weigh that out and prioritize what means the most to you. And last but not least, what's the plan? Because like I said, life's gonna go throw things in your way. Life's gonna happen. So how do I still make sure that I get this goal done and work on things of life happen? So your alarm doesn't work and you miss the morning workout. Okay, this sucks. Now I have to say you got a summer job. So I have to work out after school now and shift my workout around. So if your schedule was to lift weights before work or before summer school or whatever and school work afterwards, depending on what you prioritize, you might say, "Okay, this afternoon, instead of doing this court work, I'm gonna do more weight room work," if that's the priority to you. What's gonna be the plan B when things don't go my way and something has to happen? If it's raining that day, my car doesn't work, my mom can't take me that day, what's the plan B? How do I still get my workout in to get better in spite of things not going my way this time? Have a plan B in case. So those are the main things I want you guys to, like, have a blueprint to build to figure out your summer schedule, your summer workouts for you. So now Imma give you one more step. So if you kinda don't care about that part, you wanna get, like, specific details. Take your notes out right here. Pull your phone out, go to the notes app, and, like, start writing this down now. So, if you're in middle school, and this is, like, more of you playing other sports, here's a layout of what you can do to get better this summer. So, when it comes to the weight room stuff, you wanna get better in the weight room, you need to get better, fitness and conditioning wise. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or just 3 days a week, what you can do full body workouts. And then, uh but you wanna partner that or blend that around with your schedule you're already looking at. And if you're playing another sport and you're already doing some strength and conditioning work, then just take one of those days off or just take that out, whatever. But if you're not, throw that in there. But if you're playing a sport and you're doing, high intensity days, pair those with the high intensity days. So if you're doing a lot of conditioning that day, you do a lot of running that day, that's a full court, or maybe playing football, that's like a scrimmage day, pair your strength and conditioning day with that. Um So you wanna have your very, very high days, high intense days, and have your low intense days where you're not doing as much pounding, not as much, wear and tear on your body. And so you're able to pair the strength conditioning, the 3, full body workout days with your other sports days or whatever days you have more intensity work on. And if it comes to the skills part, once or twice a time, you want to keep a basketball in your hand, not too much to where once or twice a week. I don't know if I said that right. To where you're not, you're fine tuning skills. You don't want to do overdo and stuff. You don't want to go worn out with being on the court all the time. But just once or twice a week to get the ball in your hands, get a good feel for things, and just maintain enough to where when you get back to the season, you get back to doing other things, you get back to basketball season, you didn't lose too much skill, but you developed enough over time to where you kept things maintained enough to where you can hop back off where you left off before and build up from there. But now, if you're in high school or if you're in middle school and you're playing, that's the only thing you have to do. Now you can get a little more uh, game time. You can feel a little more intensity to it. So, first off, you're doing solo. You have two different options here. Well, I'll give you two. So, you can either do three full body workouts. So, you still stick with the Monday, Wednesday, Friday full body workout. But then you can do Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday as lighter days. So you might do light jogs or just a cardio day, maybe a core day, depending on how you want to flip it, depending on what your life and days looking like. But you can do 3 days a week of full body stuff. You do 3 days off or 3 days is like mobility, yoga, meditation type of things. Or you can split it this way: you're doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, lower body, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, upper body. You can do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, legs, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, upper body. You can do Monday, Friday, legs. These some of the different things you can do, but you wanna split it up to where you have higher days where you're doing a lot more intense work and then lower days where you're doing a lot not as intense work. However you wanna spend it depends on you and your schedule, depending on what your time can do, how much you access the gyms and all that other stuff. But it's so much of a bigger blueprint that you can have. But for your skill side, you're doing a lot more. You're doing anywhere from 4 to 6 or 7 days a week. I prefer everybody has a day off depending on what your spiritual beliefs are. I believe taking that Sunday off will do a lot more help than it will harm. So taking that day off of just chilling from the court, chilling from the gym. If you do have to do something, just mandatory for your brain to work and do some light spot shooting and stuff, do some light ball handling, stationary stuff. Something you can still add to the game without doing too much wear and tear. But, adding that to your game is gonna be a lot more beneficial, but then making sure that you're not burning yourself out to where you have your very high days, you have your lower days to where you're working, but you're not burning yourself out. And then for both groups, hooping once or twice a week would be very dope for you. So back to the middle school group, you might do one day where you're doing like some little skill sets with everybody yourself, shooting around on the court by yourself. But then the other day you might be hooping. You might play 2-on-2, 3-on-3, fives with your boys. And if you're in a high school group where that's all you're doing, you hooping once or twice a week. So that Saturday might be the hoop session. So depending on your schedule, depending on what you have access to, determine all those things. But that's how you can lay out your blueprint for the summer of training getting better this year. So hope you guys enjoyed it, man. Hope you guys liked it. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. If I missed something, if you have more questions about it, more details, questions about how you can get this better for you and your game, drop it in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you. See you. All right. Okay. Another timeout. Okay. Look, if you got to this point, you have to be enjoying the episode. Like you have to. At this point in the episode, you're enjoying it. So help me help you. Just if you're on Apple right now and you're on your phone, okay, just take your phone, press the subscribe button. It's right there. Just do that with me. Even if on your laptop, take your mouse, boom, click over, boom, do your thing. Now you subscribe. Now you linked in because you don't want to miss the next great episode that I have. But doing stuff like this helps the episode grow, makes the show grow, and the podcast grow so I can keep getting great guests and keep doing great interviews. So if you listen on Apple or Spotify, take a second, look at your phone, press the follow button, okay? And share with a friend or two because you'll find the value in this. You want to have this conversation with your friends so they can have the same value. Now the whole basketball community can grow. All right. Thanks for listening so far. I'm gonna get out your way. Let's get back to the episode. Appreciate you. So we're all at this pocket where we're struggling in life. We're just in the bad mental space. Maybe you're in a season you playing, you had a bad game, you're just kind of in a slump. You feel like you're just down and you're kind of not feeling yourself. The thing is not if I get in this space, how do I bounce back? But when I get in this space, how do I bounce back and how do I respond? So it's not the fact that, it doesn't make you great because you don't have challenges, because you will. The thing that makes you great is how you bounce back from it. How do I respond when things don't go my way? How do I respond when I'm in a slump? So Let me give you guys 9 things to think about when it comes to getting out of that slump or getting out of that bad mental space or getting in that out of that hole that you're in. So I think about being in a funk or in a rut as like you're in a certain zone, you're in a certain space, and you have to get out of that space. You're in a current flow of things going a certain direction. And I think about like you're in a hamster wheel. You're in this hamster wheel, things just not going your way. So you know how Avalanche just goes downhill, like you got a game and you had one turnover, but then the teammate has another turnover, and it's just downhill slope to where you went from up by 4 to now down by 16. You know, those things happen. It happens in our life. How do we respond and how do we bounce back? So I think about it as you're in a certain current of things happening. Well, how do I break that current and get out of that flow? Think about a water current. How do I disrupt that flow, get out of that funk to get myself in a new current, in a new flow, on a new track or a different thing? So these are different things that I do to kind of get myself out of a funk and get myself in a different space. And I know it can help you out. So the first thing that you do is first change your environment, change the location of where you're at. Sometimes it can be the physical location. So if you're in a funk and you just want to lay in your bed all day, get up and get out, get outside, and get out your room, go hang around more people. Sometimes get away from people and be by yourself. Just change your environment. Sometimes it might be you just get a get a vacation real quick. You feel me? So, but if you're in season, it might just be like getting a break from the court for a second. Get out the court and just go take a walk outside one day. Like Klay Thompson said, he just went and just jumped in the water for a minute, like refresh himself and get back to being the Klay Thompson he knew he could be. Sometimes you change your physical location, but sometimes you need to change your mental or your emotional location. So you might take a break off social media. You need to get around different group of friends, different group of people for a minute to just change how you feel and think about yourself. So we all know the people that just make a smile on the face, make us feel good, that just brighten up our day. You might want to hang around that person for a minute. Give them a phone call that just they brighten up your day, to get you out there. You need to smile or something. Get around that person a little bit more. But then next you need to do is get in a routine because sometimes mentally we're in that funk, we're in that space where things they get mundane, they get boring, they just get just the same old, same old. You get in a routine, so it might just be shaking up your morning routine, do something a little different at yourself because it sparks something in your brain to have like, oh, there's something new, there's something different. So you may have to adjust to that rather than the same old all the time. Sometimes you can challenge yourself and get yourself out of that same fucking same rut that you've been in because you're doing something different now. So get in a routine, something to change up your mind, shake up your brain, shake up your thought process on stuff. But then, like I said earlier, you might want to get a vacation, take a break. Uh, Bill Gates is known for he said that he kinda, like, detaches himself from life to recharge himself. He'll I forgot he said, like, a week or a month, he'll take a time period off from being him, and he just escapes and goes away, retreats, and just get himself refreshed to where he comes back, he can be himself at a higher level. Uh, Kanye, man, when he goes on album mode, he goes in different spaces, in different situations to where he can get the environment around him to work around him. So he's known for going to Wyoming, going to Hawaii, going somewhere else. He went to the stadium in Atlanta to do a whole project and stuff. So to get around different environments and just take a break from the mundane of where you're at to shock yourself into having new things you have to do. Um, you think about how NBA teams, college teams work. They've been training in the same gym, the same weight room, the same field or whatever for so long. Just take a break sometimes, go to a different space and just take a team trip to somewhere else, take a team trip to go somewhere else that's, out the country or maybe to another state or whatever. Just get out that mundane routine stuff to where your physical education changes now, like I said earlier, to now you're in a different space, different place to where you can recharge yourself because your brain's being stimulated by different things. So you might wanna take a trip to the sand, take a trip to the beach or whatever, just to get yourself out of that spot of just being stuck. Next thing you can do is kind of like because we're in this bad space mentally, we get caught up in the current situation of what's going on. So like I said, we're in this current, in this wave. You have to interrupt this current with something new. You can do that by reflecting on past successes that you have. So watch old highlights, you look at your old awards to get yourself back in that feeling of like, oh, this is who I am. This current situation doesn't define me. I'm not this person right here. I am a great winner. I'm a good three-point shooter. I won this contest. I was able to do this in high school. I was able to do this in college. I was able to do this in this camp. Reflect on that. Look at the highs that you have. Look at your highs and not just be stuck in the lows. So to get yourself to where you're able to reflect on your past wins and reflect on how great you always been and how you were, because the that's the vision you wanna get back into. Get yourself out of that current, out of that flow, to a new train, into a new thought of who you are and who you can be. And number 5, man, count the small wins in the moment. So, I know a lot of times we get frustrated with how things are going, and we can skip over the things that we do have going. So all we see right now is the bad of what's going on, but we had some great moments too. Just giving more time to reflect on those in the moment that we have and appreciate them more, because as you know, being in this moment, that sucks. Good times don't last always. But as you take a moment to appreciate them more, they hit a little bit harder. They sink a little bit deeper when those good moments come. So if you're depressed right now and when you finally get out of that depression in a good space, man, you can appreciate that good time more because, man, I remember when I was depressed. I remember when I was having those bad games. I remember when I was alone and not having friends. You appreciate it so much more. It sinks in deeper. So same thing like being hungry or thirsty. You finally get to eat. You finally get to drink. Man, it's a little bit different. You appreciate it so much more. So reflect on the small wins and those moments that you have them, because that maintains you being in that better space a little bit longer than it would before. And number 6, man, just get in a space where you can feel good. Just dance. Go have some good music playing that makes you want to groove and dance. Get to where you laughing, man. Go watch some comedy on Netflix or something. Go to somewhere. Go hang around a group of friends that makes you laugh. Hang around some babies, man. Just be around some more kids that can just inspire you to take a little bit lighter load off you, man. To laugh and have a good time. Go out with a night with friends. Or something. Just do something that you can enjoy, so you can smile. You can get yourself out of that current, out of that funky new space that you need to be in. Number 7, this is a big one. Get out your head. And sometimes that thing is like we're so in our head and so in our feelings and so in our thoughts so much that we get too bogged down in there. And I know a lot of things for me, a big thing for me is that sometimes what helps me get out of my head is to go help somebody else out. So instead of me focusing on my problems and my issues, I get my brain with the brain. How can I help them? And sometimes it makes me forget about my problems because it's like other people have problems too. And it's just like you're able to just escape that mental environment that you're in, and you skip back over into being in a better space now. And so when you're able to get out your head and be with a friend and help them out, sometimes that helps you get back into a space now where you're good, because all you have to do is get out of that environment, the mental space that you're in, and now you're in a better space now. And that kind of goes to number 8, just help somebody else out. Sometimes you just need to be a benefit to somebody else that ends up being a benefit to you too. So sometimes you be with the friends, just be good companion, just be with them and have the good energy and good feelings and good spirits with them. Sometimes just help somebody else out too. It's like a big positive, big plus. And number 9, man, this is probably the most important thing that uh, we struggle with more and more, especially with the facade that we have going on. We're not being enough, we're not doing enough of. We're always failures because we see other people's success on social media. The most important thing, man, is to give yourself grace, to give yourself some self love, because you're going to fail, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to have pockets where things aren't going your way, which is fine. But you have to give yourself that grace to say that, okay, I messed up. These things didn't go my way. These things aren't right, but I'm still okay. I can still bounce back. I can still do better. So you gotta love yourself and get it back to where you can appreciate yourself more, to where you can bounce back from it differently. So get yourself out of that pocket of just beating yourself down and wearing down yourself so much. Like, okay, this sucks, but I'm okay. You're all right. Like, you messed up, or this isn't how you wanted to go, but it's okay. We can bounce back from this. This ain't the first time, like I said, the small wins, and the first time we did this before, we can do it again. So that's the 9 things, man. A lot of it kinda blends, merge together, but, um, let me know what helps you out, man. Which number sticks to you the most? Which one hits home for you the most that you can really apply to yourself and move on with, man. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is the big 3. If you got any more questions for me, got any more comments, concerns, let me know. Drop in the comments below. Appreciate you. See you next episode.